Welcome to Skip the Queue, the podcast about the world's best visitor attractions and the people that work in them. I'm Paul Marden. Along with my co-hosts, Andy Povey and Sinead Kimberley, I spend my days working with ambitious attractions like theme parks, museums, galleries and science centres to help them to attract more guests. Today on Skip the Queue, I'm joined by someone who has been shaping the attractions industry in truly remarkable ways. Massimiliano Freddi is the first Italian ever to hold the role of chairman in IAAPA's 107-year history. A milestone that not only celebrates his career, but also shines a light on Italy's growing influence in the global attractions landscape. Massimiliano has worn many hats across his journey, from fulfilling his childhood dream of becoming a theme park managing director at just 28, where he grew guest numbers from 300,000 to over 800,000, to founding his own destinations like Wonderwood on Lake Maggiore and Wonderwood Spina Verde overlooking Lake Como. Along the way, he's pioneered inclusive and eco-conscious practices, championing the power of storytelling and shown how attractions can thrive by creating meaningful experiences for every guest. Beyond his leadership roles, Massimiliano is also a professor of marketing and experience design at IULM University in Milan, where he's passionate about nurturing the next generation of talent in our sector. Often described as both a dreamer and a doer, he brings together vision and practicality in a way that continues to inspire operators around the world. Massimiliano, welcome to the show. It really is a pleasure to have you with us. We always start Skip the Queue, and the kickoff of season 7, no less, is going to be no different. We always start with an icebreaker question, and I'm thinking back to we're just back off of our summer holidays, aren't we? For your perfect holiday, would it start with planes, trains, or driving?
Oh, that's a beautiful question. By the way, congratulations, because you've pronounced Massimiliano in a very correct way. So that's unusual.
You.
I have a complicated name. I know. Hey, I would say train. Train is really part of the way that I love to travel with. And unfortunately, too often it happens by car, which I like a little bit less. I get dizzy, and stuff. A train is my ultimate way to travel.
I did a sleeper train to Scotland a couple of years ago, and it was amazing. I absolutely loved it. And what's brilliant is there's more of those sleeper trains hitting Europe, aren't there now? So there really is very few excuses for us not to be holidaying with some elegant sleeper train. My only disappointment was that there was no murder on the train, so I couldn't have an Agatha Christie style novel themed around my train journey. But you can't have everything.
I mean, it could have been the Hogwarts Express, but apparently it doesn't run every day. So
that would be pretty cool as well. I've just come back from Edinburgh actually, and we saw, the viaduct where the train goes to Hogwarts.
Of course.
And completely unplanned, there was a steam train that went over the bridge whilst we were there. It was amazing.
Good.
Anyway,
happy-go-lucky.
Yeah. So enough of my holidays. Let's kick off talking about you and IAAPA. What can international markets learn from attractions in Italy? Tell us a little bit about the attractions landscape over there in Italy at the moment.
Yes, let's say that the attractions landscape is very similar somehow to how the restaurants or the retail landscape has always been, which means a lot of mom and pop stores. And in a way or another, this kind of I think that what people who travel to Italy love is to find something that is one of a kind that you can find only in Italy.
Completely.
I have a deep respect for Starbucks, but I'm always questioning myself, when somebody comes to Italy, do they really want to find Starbucks? Is this really the thing? So when it comes to parks and attractions, Italy has not faced a big concentration in players like it has happened in other countries. Of course, some big players are there. Parques Reunidos owns Mirabilandia, which is the second most important Italian park, and the most important Italian park is Gardaland, owned by Merlin Entertainments. Then we have a few other groups owning and operating some of the facilities. But let's say that out of 250 parks between, or you said attractions, that's very correct. Now, if we talk about attractions, now the number endless, because where is the
Yes.
border? Where is the border? Okay.
What is an attraction? Yeah, that's a big philosophical question.
Okay. So let's say that once upon a time we used to count parks. So when we talk about parks, we have roughly 250 parks in Italy, and most of them are tiny, 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 and they are independently owned. That's my case. I own and operate 2 parks right now, and I'm about to open a third location that will be an indoor one this November. And so yes, so I think that what others can learn from Italy, I think, is to keep this respect for your roots, and to make
Yes.
sure that you don't make every attraction look like another one, but you kind of keep it, different. And so it's a matter of the mix of how people can have fun and get entertained, but it's really also about retail and about food and about shows and festivals and you name it.
Yes.
So there are these places that we see on Instagram, and immediately we say, "Oh, when I see a picture of the Empire State Building or of the
Yes.
Tower Bridge, I know immediately where it belongs to." And so I think that with attractions, we need to think in the future always about this. A guest coming to visit us, they want to have the ultimate experience, and they want to have something that's different from anything they've done before. So this is the responsibility we have.
And a big one it is. Let's talk a little bit about the experience economy, and especially when we think about, beyond the parks, there's this massive ecosystem around the outside of different ways that people can enjoy themselves. What does that experience economy mean to you, especially in Italy?
The experience economy, first of all, it really matters to me, the book. Because in 1999, it was once upon a time, it was really difficult to find literature and scientific literature on the leisure industry. And so I think that at that time, we thought that everybody could take inspiration from the attractions industry, and it has happened. Because right now,
Yes.
yes, definitely. Food is experience, and travel is experience, and lodging is experience, and you name it. You name it. Even there is also a funeral house in Italy, which has become very famous because they are really based on the experience they will give. Not to the people who passed away, unfortunately, but to the people remaining. So I think that it's very hard now to find an industry that doesn't think that we are in the experience economy and that everything should be experience and
Yes.
experiential. And so I think that when I go back to my example, I think that we as attractions, we need to be even more wise in how we choose to present ourselves and what we cater to our guests, because of course we need to raise the bar. So right now, we know that some access and some services to our attractions have become better with technology, but still we are, long lines sometimes, and we feel we are paying too much for what we are getting back. I would say that in the end, experience economy starts with people and ends with people. And so we need to be people-centric, and only like this we can be truly experiential. I don't think that an experience is about technology. It's always
No.
about people.
Absolutely. I wonder as well. I'm always struck by this industry, how close we are, how we collaborate with one another, and really the competition aren't the other parks or attractions. The competition is getting people out and doing something. There are so many things at home that could keep you at home, getting you out and about and visiting places and enjoying those experiences. I wonder whether collaboration is the answer to this.
I think you nailed it, because it's crucial. Everybody who has not been working for this industry, when they enter the industry, because they might change job, everybody is so surprised that we collaborate so heavily. And I think that a key to this success has always been this big collaboration. I have almost always in my career been part of smaller facilities, and to me, IAAPA and the associations were. It's been crucial, because you are alone. Very, very often your facility is in the middle of nowhere. No
Yeah.
matter if you're part of a big group, because even big groups have facilities in the middle of nowhere. But for
Yep.
family-owned and operated attractions, that's almost the golden rule. And so there are so many days in your life, in your career, in your profession, where you would benefit strongly from talking to somebody else who's been
Completely.
through something like you before and who's found a different solution and who can open up your eyes. So I think that's that the beauty of our industries is getting together. Again, if we don't get together, how can we make people get together? Like,
Yeah, yeah. I'm very excited about getting together because I've got my first IAAPA in Barcelona coming up, and I'm
wow.
very excited about what this is going to be like. So
Oh, you will be blown away.
I can't wait. I absolutely can't wait. Now, look, someone has once described you as a dreamer and a doer. One of your dreams was to be managing director of a theme park. Where did that inspiration come from?
So it comes from a terrible childhood. And so it comes from the fact that, the word around me when I was a kid was not a positive word. And my family had a lot of troubles, and I'm an orphan from the side of my mother. I mean, I went through several things. And so I think that the attractions industry to me, it really meant this place that's always happy and
Hmm.
where grown-ups can really take great care of kids and kids at heart.
Yep.
So I think that my passion came out of that. Now, dreaming and doing. Of course, we all have as a big myth and as a reference Walt Disney himself, he was the guy who first said dreamers and doers, talking about um, wet enterprises. So his Imagineers. I think that whenever I see something, I want to say something. Everybody who knows me knows pretty well. But it means that I love to see the world in a constant improvement. So
Yeah.
if I check in at a hotel and I see that there is something in there that, it even doesn't impact me, but with a small step they could make it better and fix it, I just share it. And I share it, wherever I am. And so I think that maybe this was a bit of my secret weapon because I got involved into several things. I think because I'm curious and maybe because I'm generous in sharing. And and I don't know if there is a secret there. There is just that in the moment in which you accept yourself the way you are and you acknowledge that you have some talents and you don't have some others, and some skills you can get better, some others, no way. Okay, I
Yeah.
could never be an attorney. I could never do a lot of jobs on the planet. But now I know at the age of 44, I know what I'm good at. And even if I'm good at that, I want to constantly improve. So I think that maybe the support that I could bring to the table, to the companies I've worked for, to the associations, to my own business, and so on, it's always been this obsession with constant improvement every day.
Yeah. I think it takes a certain vulnerability, doesn't it, to spot something that you think can be improved and to offer a suggestion. And I think it's so valuable. I was at an attraction recently and I got the email at the end of the day saying, "How was it? Please leave us a review." And I went to click it and it didn't work. And I knew the head of marketing. So I just pinged him off a quick email that just said, "Oh, I had such a brilliant time. But I couldn't leave you a review. I wanted to give you a brilliant review, but I couldn't do it because it didn't work." And that led them to go and look at all of their outbound emails, and none of them were working properly. But you could walk by and just leave that alone, but I can't do it. And but it is sometimes does make you feel really, you could be awkward, couldn't you? But I when I get great service in a restaurant, when somebody looks after me while at an attraction, I want to tell them how good it was. And if I can see something they can do better, I want to tell them what they could do.
Totally, totally. And I'm so much on the same page. I was about to say that it's equally important to call people out when they're doing well.
Yeah.
So to make sure that they are aware. And sometimes, to say, there was one day where I traveled during a bank holiday, and I arrived at the entire bank holiday, and I arrived to the airport, and I decided I wanted to thank each and every employee that I would meet because they were there that day. I mean, we got used that Sundays are no longer Sundays, but the bank holidays, these are the moments in which you spend with time with your family and with your kids and so on. And if you are there and you are working, I mean, it's good that somebody sees you and tells you, hey, thank you because you're working even today,
Yeah.
And you can tell how everybody gets surprised. So I think that we learn so much more by positive reinforcement. And so how important it is also to tell attractions, facilities, managers, CEOs. I mean, CEOs, they are so used to just get, I can't use swear words. They are
Yes, you can.
under those kind of storms, all the time.
Yeah.
And so when a CEO does something good, come on, let's tell her.
Yeah.
Let's tell
It's
her.
it's a really lonely job, and all you get is the spankings and the tellings off, isn't it? So when they get it right, they definitely need a pat on the back because they're not going to get it. They're not going to get it. So I can't believe this. At the age of 28, you made your dream come true, and you were managing director of a theme park in Italy for Minitalia, which became Leolandia. In this role, you took guest numbers from 300,000 guests a year to over 800,000. Tell us that story. How do you so dramatically increase footfall at the attraction?
I don't think it was me. I think it was a great teamwork,
Of
because
course.
it's a great teamwork, and you can grow this much if your operation is working very well, if your safety is right on spot, if the park is clean, and so on. I can tell you one thing, that when we were at the basic level, so at the very beginning, of course, we couldn't afford to buy big attractions or to heavily theme, and we needed really. I remember that the first Halloween we had a 10K budget, 10,000 euro budget for a whole month of Halloween. Okay, so we would go, we would go, to the do-it-yourself stores and buy brooms and build everything in. I mean, but that was a magical moment because it created the capability of the team to envision that if you want, you can do with the things you have, and of course with a huge budget you can do fantastic things. But sometimes this helps. So in that moment, TripAdvisor was a true success still. We're talking about 20 years ago. So TripAdvisor
Yep.
was kind of the reference. That's even before Google Maps and all that. So I remember that I did an analysis and I understood that every restaurant or park who had over 4.5 out of 5 was growing. And having 4 out of 5 was not enough. And then now we call it NPS, we call it a different way. But there, in this practical way, it was it. So I remember this moment with my team saying, hey, we need to be obsessed by getting 5 stars.
Yep.
And this is the point. So what can we do? First of all, we can have the cleanest toilets on earth. Let's make sure that the smell is good, they are super clean, and so on. Because people, that's a level of service. Of course, this is not a driver of visit, but this is a driver of satisfaction. And in the same
Yes.
way, let's start to work with better suppliers when it comes to food and beverage. Let's start to make things more comfortable. So I think that this was the first thing. The second aspect, again, it's very much linked to IAAPA, because I think that attending, the show every year and knowing the people. At that time, Jacob Wahl, he used to be one of the employees of IAAPA in Brussels.
Hmm.
I don't think he was a manager at the time yet, but he was in charge of keeping relationships with members. So I reached out to him. We are the same age. I reached out to him and I said, hey, I would love to visit a few facilities in other countries because I need to get fresh ideas. It was a very delicate moment. We came out of 2 bad seasons due to bad weather, because then you don't go from here to here as a straight line, but
No.
always as this roller coaster. And in a moment you think, oh, I made it, there's a dip.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can never sleep. And so he put me in contact with several facilities. I visited some in Belgium, in the Netherlands, and in the UK. And in the UK, I visited this, at that time, small park still, called Paulton's Park. You might know that.
Yes.
I remember it was a weekday with bad weather, and the parking lot was packed. And I was like,
Yep.
how comes? Kids are not at
Yep.
school today. And what is the point? I enter the park. The park is, not so crowded. So I really suspect that they are, keeping the people all shut down together in a place. I don't know what the point was. And then I enter the Peppa Pig's world. And it blows my
Yes.
mind. And again, what blows my mind is that it didn't have any huge attraction. It didn't have, but it had that feeling. And people were
Magic.
just so happy. It was
Yep.
magic. Little kids there with their families, a lot of strollers all over the place, traffic jams due to strollers. And so I came back and I said, hey, we need to get Peppa Pig. And I remember that the team was like, it can't happen. It has happened. In the end, we were the second park in the world after Bolton's Park to get Peppa, and that
Wow.
reshaped the entire strategy of the park we had at that time, turning it into what we wanted to achieve is to become the best park for the kids under the age of 10 in Southern Europe. And best means really the best rated from the bottom of the heart. And so
Yeah.
this is what has happened. So I think that's, but you know, before Leolandia, I had worked for Disneyland Paris, and I'm a big Disney fan. So that was kind of the school I had attended, and I just had to apply the theory that I've learned. I had to apply it, and I had a fantastic team and the resources to do that. So
Amazing. Now, fast forward to 2018, and you've taken the step from MD to founder, and you have founded Wonderwood on Lake Maggiore, and then now let's test my Italian. You've also founded Wonderwood Spina Verde. Was that okay?
I'm speechless. I can't correct
Yeah.
anything.
Oh, wonderful. Overlooking Lake Como, both of which, by the way, were so I've been to Maggiore and Como for my honeymoon. A beautiful, beautiful place. And you put two parks there. How has that been?
It has been crazy. So I remember
Yeah,
I remember that the first year, and I mean, we created the company in 2008. At the end of 2018, we've opened our gates in the summer of 2019. Now, if we all remember what has happened at the beginning of 2020,
yeah,
okay, so perfect timing. Now
yeah.
I can tell you that the first season, every day, I would literally cry, but for real.
Mm,
I was exhausted. My husband was exhausted. We thought that this was a nightmare, the worst possible nightmare. And if somebody had knocked on my door and asked me, hey, could I just take it over? I don't give you a penny. I will just take on the loans. I would have said yes. And that's because, of course, every project is over budget,
of course.
no matter. And when it's a family company and you don't have the money because you've contracted several loans and so on, it makes it super, super difficult. So in that moment, my call for action was because the possibility on Lake Maggiore was in the town where I spent every summer as a kid. So it was a love story.
Yeah,
And I wanted to give back to the community. I wanted to do something in the nature that would inspire kids to hike more, to become more active, and just not only to stay in front of a screen, but to do something different. So that came out of this kind of dream, and so it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare at the very beginning.
mm,
Then COVID
mm,
hit, and we were very lucky, of course, because we didn't lose anyone from our families and friends. So I'm very thankful for that. And at the same time, it gave us the possibility to stop for a second, rewind, and refine our strategy. Because we had just closed the park the week before Christmas, and
mm,
we were supposed to reopen in less than 3 months, but we were exhausted. So I'm telling this story because usually it's so nice to tell the triumphs, and saying,
Oh,
hey,
yes.
it's been fantastic. Yeah, we nailed it. We made 200 mistakes and we paid for all the mistakes. So I think that in that moment, we were struggling at the beginning. We were reflecting in the middle part. And then 3 years ago, 2 to 3 years ago, I woke up one morning and I understood that I really loved what I was doing.
Mm,
And it had changed. It had changed, and seeing so many families happy and so many people visiting, and seeing how many young professionals or students started to work with us, and then you see them leaping. I think that this is the most beautiful thing on earth. It's very empowering. So right now I'm in this situation where I am so grateful for for this entire 6 years, even if they started in a way that was very, very heavy. But the Latins used to say per aspera ad astra. It means towards the stars through the asperities. And so we need to go through that thing, that tunnel.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, as if founding your own parks wasn't enough, you also mix your time as a professor at the university. I can hear from what you were talking about bringing the young professionals into the park that there's an element to you of apprenticeship almost of teaching that next cohort of people that are going to come and take over the world. How exciting is that for you to be able to mix that in at the university?
It's fantastic. It's fantastic. And again, it came out of passion. It came out. I didn't do a PhD after my university. My career wasn't supposed to be the academic one, and I didn't trust I would be able to do that. And then I got called for a lecture, then 2 lectures and 3 lectures, and then right now I have several courses at university. There's a point. The point is that if we meet between our age of 14, 15, until our 25, and if we narrow it down, it's between maybe 16 and 22. This is the moment in which it's more important to meet some mentors. And most of us don't meet mentors. They meet nice people around them, giving them very nice advices based on their experience and not seeing the talents they have in front of them. And in several cases, we are scared. We think that we are not enough. And so I really think that it's such a huge privilege for me to be able to be at university and to meet so many hundreds of students every year, and to try to make my small impact so that, first of all, they can believe in themselves and they can believe that the world can be a better place, even if right now it's kind of a tough moment. But from tough moments, again, we can learn things. Even at IAAPA, one of the things that I really am passionate more about is what are the spaces we can create for young professionals and students. So I want to give two very short examples. The IAAPA Foundation, it has evolved a lot over the last few years. We were able to collect so many more donations. And now, this year, it will be a record-breaking year when it comes to scholarships to which students can apply in universities around the globe. So I think but to me and to all of us in the board of the IAAPA Foundation, that's like the starting point. We are here celebrating because it's a big achievement, and then we look each other in the eyes and say, okay, now what's next? Now how can we make sure that the impact is even bigger? And if we go on the side of IAAPA, I think we are we pay a lot of attention to make sure that the membership fees are very low for the people entering the world of leisure. Just a few weeks ago, it got launched on the IAAPA job board that whoever has a company and wants to post an internship, that's free to post. So that, there could be thousands of internships available for students. Of course, we are used as a big association, we are used to talk to members and maybe older members because we visit facilities and we visit manufacturers and we need to deal with safety and stuff. But students and young professionals are not on the back of my head. They are like near and dear to my heart. And so my real question is, when this year ends in a couple of months, how can I dedicate myself even more to contribute to young people? Because I think that they are making a change, they will make a change, and we are learning so much from them. Because the world we are living, you and me right now, I have a bad news. It's no longer our word. We don't have the code to decode that. So we don't have the keys. We can just support people that are better than us and make sure that they can lead, that they can teach, that they can learn. So that's what I see.
I completely agree with you. I think it's interesting because you talk about what you're giving, but you're also getting something back. This is not entirely altruistic, is it? The support that you're giving for these young people and early career professionals, you're getting something back, enriching yourself and learning new things from them.
Always. And I think that, I don't always teach leisure marketing and stuff. I teach marketing at a master's degree in management of beauty and wellness. Total different industry, of food and wine, as I was telling. But what I bring home every time is how much young people need to feel seen. And
Mm.
and this is truly important, because if we create for them not a safe zone, because of course we want them to get messy, we want them to take risks, but they
Yep.
need to feel safe as humans, and they need to feel
Yep.
safe as seen, and not and so I appreciate a lot this, because then the energy that I get back. And when we talk about IAAPA, we have so many ambassadors that have
Yeah.
been contributing to the IAAPA trade shows and events all over the globe. We have young people joining the committees. Right now, there are more than a few young professional task forces around the globe that are really helping us old people to understand what they need. So I think that we are at the very beginning, and if I could say a dream out loud, I wish that IAAPA in 5 or 10 years, maybe in 5 years, can multiply the number of young engaged people in the association by 100. 10 is not enough. 20 is by 100. We need to make an impact, and I think we want to make an impact. So hopefully.
Wow, there's an ambition for you, and I think every worthwhile project, it always starts with that kind of ambitious goal at the very beginning of it. You need to be driven by that 100 times impact, not the 10 times impact. We always like to finish our interviews with a book recommendation, fiction, non-fiction, industry related or not. Give us a view into your reading habits.
Okay, so can I mention more than one book? I take
Oh,
this
you
this
you
this opportunity.
bankrupt me because I always offer the book recommendation as a prize for people, but you can have more than one.
Okay, thank you. Because I'm a big reader. So the first author that I would love to mention is J.K. Rowling, because Harry Potter is not just a story of a kid or of magic,
Hmm.
but it's a story of a woman who was a bit desperate,
Hmm.
and then she followed what she was feeling. She allowed her emotions to flow, and she has created a masterpiece, and
Yes.
she has impacted us all, no matter business related, non-business related, and so on. So I think that to read again the first Harry Potter book, it's very important, because it brings us back to some reason whys, and to some
Yeah.
things. So the
Completely.
second book that I would love to mention is a book written by Seth Godin. I have had the privilege to work for Seth for several years, and
Really.
yeah,
Wow.
he's an amazing guy. He's an amazing guy,
Hmm.
and come on, he's such a generous person, and he's amazing. I don't have any other words. That's amazing. He wrote a book maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago, called Lynchpin, and
Hmm.
Lynchpin is not his most famous book, but it's a book that changed my life, because it really nudges you in a gentle and not so gentle way sometimes. No, let's say in a gentle way. It nudges you to don't set for what you have, but to see your inner talents, and to innovate, and to be creative, be generous, and so on. So Lynchpin to me it's the book that changed it all for me. So I think that everybody, young, less young, everybody should read once
I
in a
feel like
lifetime.
I need to go and read this because that is one Seth Godin book I have not read. So
So
uh, there we go. Listeners, if you would like a copy of Lynchpin, then the first person that heads over to LinkedIn and reposts our show notice and says, I want Massimiliano's book and can spell Massimiliano correctly, will have a copy of the book sent to them. We've got IAAPA Europe taking place next week in Barcelona, and we have a
yes.
very special Skip the Queue announcement. We are going to be hitting the show floor on a daily basis. We are going to go live for daily episodes of Skip the Queue from the show floor. We're going to be talking to operators about what their challenges are like, finding out what new supplier announcements are coming out, and the Skip the Queue team is going to be feverishly working away. We'll be recording during the day, and Steve and Wenlin will be editing, and producing through the night, ready to post the show the following morning. So I'm very excited about that.
And I think we are super excited to have you guys on the trade show floor. And I recommend, of course, visiting it, making the most out of it, and don't underestimate the fantastic education sessions that take place. There is a strong lineup of speakers that will impact the way that the industry will be in a few years. So, great opportunity.
How's that for a trailer? That sounds amazing. Massimiliano, it really has been a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you so much, Paul, for me as well. And see you in Barcelona.
Yes, how exciting. Looking forward to it.
Remember, if you'd like a copy of today's book, head over to LinkedIn and repost our show notice saying, I want a copy of Massimiliano's book. If you've enjoyed this episode, please leave a review on your podcasting platform. It really helps people to find the show. If you didn't enjoy it, or you got ideas about how we could improve the show, then let us know at hello@skipthequeue.fm. My thanks to Massimiliano and his team at IAAPA for their help with this episode. Skip the Queue is brought to you by Rubber Cheese, the digital agency that creates amazing websites for ambitious visitor attractions. This episode was written by Emily Burrows, produced by Wenlyn Dianaldo, and edited by Steve Folland. Skip the Queue team also includes Sammy Entwistle, Sinead Kimberley, Claire Furnival, and Andy Povey.